Well, good morning, everybody. 9 o'clock here on a Tuesday morning. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. We have a busy morning for you right now. We will start with some breaking news and live pictures in New York City. This is the Upper West Side. You can see the smoke coming from that building. It is a 3-alarm fire with fire crews looking like this is a surround and drown approach now to this fire. There's 107th and Amsterdam Avenue, if you are familiar with the area, and we do have a lot of New Yorkers here in the Carolinas. So live pictures for you now, that white smoke indicative of an improving situation, certainly not out of the danger zone yet. I did see earlier from these aerial shots that there was some debris falling from the roof on down to the street. So we can imagine that streets are blocked off, but that water pressure is right there shooting into the windows, and a pretty intense situation. But firefighters on top of the roof, so at least that seems like it is deemed safe enough to approach from the top. And you can see the ladders there now really just slanted or leaning against the building, and firefighters approaching this precariously. But we want to show you what it did look like. This is from the Fire Department of New York. So flames, black smoke. James, when did this come in?
This picture is 10 minutes old, and the traffic advisory came out 20 minutes ago. So this fire is all fresh, like within the last 30 to 60 minutes, Jane. Fresh
scene for you there. So you can see how intense those flames are. It looks like it is from that upper floor, top floor of this building. We'll gather what kind of building this was, the cause. It probably is still too early to see what it could have been caused by. But at least it seems that the wind is at least fair enough, calm enough that that is not a very extreme danger approaching the other buildings. So hot spots wouldn't jump over to the next building. But you could see the separate building, the one right next to it, it is getting a lot of that water pressure now. I would imagine areas around there are evacuated as well. James pulling up this map now, and I mean, yeah, it's right there in the middle of the Upper West Side.
That's right. We're just on the west side of Central Park here in Manhattan, and between Central Park and the Hudson River.
All right. So we'll keep tabs on this, though. Right there in the middle of Manhattan, 3-alarm fire being worked on right now. Live pictures from our NBC affiliate in New York City. The other big story here is certainly the weather here in the Charlotte metro. We have a number of schools affected, either on a delay or a remote. That list is available on our website, WCNC Charlotte, but we want to get to meteorologist Chris Mulcahy breaking it down to us and what we need to know today. I did see some patches of black ice driving in.
Yeah, very few around here. I think it's really more of a walking issue that something might sneak up on you. But bring up the school closures. I know a lot of kids are now actually getting ready to go to school because of the 2-hour delay. But since it was a weather situation, I actually made a map for you to try to make things a little bit easier to see. So anything in the green, those kids had school because it was mainly just all rain. And even though temperatures did drop down below the freezing point, not as much black ice. Meanwhile, schools like CMS, also over to the Concord area in Cabarrus, we had Rowan, Salisbury schools that were canceled. It was much of Statesville, Iredell had the 2-hour delays, what I should have said for the last two. And the only one that stood out was really Caldwell County under a 3-hour delay, and that's also where it had a little bit more snow than, say, Burke County. And the reason why you actually see a red for Watauga is not because they had ultra bad snow totals. It was actually because they were already set for a teacher workshop day. So they are closed because of that, and now that workshop is just optional. Meanwhile, it's all remote for Ash and Avery. I feel so bad for the kids now that they can go remote, Jane.
I know.
It
breaks up the routine. You got to socialize. Yeah, it's difficult. Difficult for the families, difficult for the kids.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and the main thing is like that's usually a snow day. Like so now it is like, and I understand for certain ones, and they do still kind of throw them some bones here. But I just know for me, I'm glad that I went to school in high school where you could still have school cancellations.
A snow day.
But also, back in our day, we had to follow the very bottom of the screen to see where your school was, and then somehow I'd always miss the D's, and I would have to wait again. But anyways, what we're looking at is just mainly just a refreeze problem, and that's going to be overnight tonight for the mountains. Check it out. Our mountain snow totals that we have from this was above 6 inches for spots like Howard's Knob, Beach Mountain, so we're talking about the upper mountaintops, and then anywhere from about 3 to 4.5 inches from Todd, North Carolina to Jefferson and Ashe County. That's a decent amount of snow that fell. Meanwhile, it is quite chilly this morning. Back to freezing. It's technically freezing right now at 32 degrees, but we did match the coldest low of the season so far. On the 29th, we dropped down to 28 degrees. Well, now we have 28 for our low today, and that right there is definitely of the chilly variety. But I'm just letting you know, it is going to get a whole lot colder before you know it. And speaking of, we've been on quite the stretch. Today is going to be day number 12 of consecutive highs that are 50 degrees or colder. And what's actually substantial about this, I was looking back in history of all the different times that we've had something like this. Well, this is actually only the 52nd time that we have had 12 days in a row of this range. And what's also interesting about this one is that's never happened in November. So we started in November. We're, of course, going to end it by tomorrow for December, making it a grand total of 12 days. But only 52 times. If you really think about that, how rare that is. This is the earliest we've ever done that sort of streak. Now, the biggest record is 30 days. We went 30 days in a row that were 50 degrees or colder. So that's my little stat of the day. Meanwhile, our rainfall chances are pretty much very minuscule going forward. We have dry conditions up through Saturday. We will see an isolated shower chance on Sunday, and that's where things change. So let's talk about the now. We have a high right around 40 degrees. Only around 40 degrees. We should be close to 56. So this is about 15 degrees off the mark. Another cold high, and that means through much of the day it's going to be the mid to the upper 30s. Now, we are seeing a little bit of sunshine. It's been nice to see that come out already starting off this morning, but it does look like more clouds will start to roll in. Here's an example. We actually have our Kannapolis camera back, seeing a brighter sky, but there's also some clouds that are already actively here. Other cameras that we have, like our Dallas camera, is really showing some of those low-hanging clouds, but at least we are seeing a little bit of sunshine off yonder, but we're 1,450 feet up where a lot of those clouds are living. So just letting you know, On and off throughout the day, we will have a chance for some clouds. Because here's what it looks like. Passing clouds over the next 36 hours. More move back in for your Wednesday. As for our next chance for any precipitation, it primarily looks to be the North Carolina mountains. So I think it's going to be mainly your Wednesday evening that we could have some snow accumulations heading into the Wednesday night time frame. But this does not look to work its way into the Charlotte area, but it is going to cool us down. So that cool down that we're going to have is actually going to bring us back to about 50, 51 on your Thursday. So that's the reason why we cool down. We're back up to 54 by tomorrow, the lower 50s, and then right around the freezing point again on Friday, because it often takes about 24 hours for us to really get that cool down. But then we got to talk about my pick of the week. Here, I'll backtrack. It's going to be 60 degrees this coming Saturday. That's amazing. So finally an above average day, something that we haven't had for quite some time. And it should have an ample amount of sunshine. But the deal here is your weekend is the split. That's where we have that cold front that's going to push through. 60 degrees for your Saturday, 51 on Sunday, and I think increasing clouds with a chance for rain is going to be the name of the game. So if you want to stay in and watch football, maybe you're the first round of your fantasy playoffs, congratulations. If that's you, just letting you know. But once you get to Monday, we're talking about potential lows in the teens, and we're also talking about potential highs that are going to be only around 40 degrees, much like what we have today. And our wind chills, check this out. This is showing, I think primarily this will be more so earlier in the morning, so let's move our time frame back. But we're looking at wind chills anywhere from about 5 to 10 below zero for the mountains. And this isn't a big wind or anything. And then potentially the single-digit wind chills for the first time on Monday morning. So that is going to be quite chilly, and with temperatures in the teens, that means the mountains have a chance at the single digits. So I would not be surprised, just because of the chilliness of this factor, that maybe there's more 2-hour delays that we have, especially for the mountains and the foothills when all is said and done. That Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, you can see that cool down back to 39 for your Monday, and then only 19 degrees on Monday. The way that I can show you a better look at this is over the last 10 days, we've been 50 or below, as I mentioned. Well, we're now starting to see at least some minor spikes up to 54, up to 60. So we only have one day Saturday, and that's the easy choice for pick of the week, that it actually feels more like late November. Meanwhile, most of November, it felt more like October. So it's all backwards. Meanwhile, once we hit that bottom on your Monday, we will eventually get back to where we're going to be on Wednesday, coming up to day 18 of December. So that's 1 week before Christmas on that Thursday. And then the way that the long range models are trending, I'm talking about 14 days plus, we actually might have a warm up for Christmas, believe it or not. So what people don't want to hear, people always want to have that white Christmas. Well, it's not really trending in that good direction. But luckily for our lows and our highs, I think Monday is going to be the absolute bottom for both of them. And then as far as our precipitation chances, I showed you that we have one on Sunday. But then outside of that, we might have another one heading into the following Wednesday, but nothing too crazy. So Becca did a great job earlier on our Weather IQ talking about the biggest snowstorms that we've had in December history. December history has some big snowstorms, but actually most of the snow that we see as far as the snowstorm variety is more so in February. That's kind of the hot month as far as snow goes, but then also within the top 5, January and March, where early March is always kind of a sneaky window that we've had some big ones throughout history. So just kind of keep that in mind, but I want to end this right here leading up to Christmas. The history of White Christmas is very, very minimal for us here in the Charlotte area. By the way, the technical meteorological definition for a white Christmas is to actually have some sort of measurable snow. So it needs to accumulate. Now for us, if you just see it in general, sometimes we'll throw it in there. But I'm just letting you know, as far as measurable snowfall goes, it's only been 4 times in history, dating back to 1878, that we've even amounted a snow accumulation on Christmas, around Christmas, going into Christmas. Whereas back in 1947, we had close to 6 inches. 1880, of course, we remember these years, right? But the most recent one was 2010, that at the end of the day, into the 26, we had 0.4. So that was the only time that we've had it in recent memory. That means it's just less than a 2% chance for us to have a white Christmas. Meanwhile, there's been 6 times in history that it's been 70 degrees, and the way things are trending, looks to be a warmer Christmas than what we're dealing with right now over the next 10.
Oh, okay. So you think no snow?
No, no. It is trending the absolute wrong definition for that way.
Palm trees. Then.
Yeah. Hey, anything can happen. Anything can happen. But if I were to, the way things are trending, since we're so cold right now, things usually have to catch up. I bet you it'll be warmer than normal around Christmas time, which people don't like.
Balance that out again.
Equilibrium.
Equilibrium. Chris Mulcahy bringing it to us here for today as we've been weather alert. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time always. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:15 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus this morning, Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden is in the Live Impact studio for a conversation that really comes at a critical time for our community. Just last night, we reported that some of the concerns now 1 week into Irina's Law, there's an 18% jump in jail population, strained resources, a detention center struggling to keep up, and add to that the conclusion of Operation Charlotte's Web. We have the ongoing federal immigration operation enforcement and the recent tragic loss of one of his officers. Sheriff McFadden joining us here this morning. He's been candid about some of these challenges, and today we're going to dig right into it. Sheriff, thank you for making the time.
Thank you all for having me.
It has been 1 week since Irina's Law took effect. Last night, again, we reported the 18% increase in jail population compared to around this time last year. What's happening inside the facility right now?
Well, we're preparing for the holiday season. Most people know that the numbers do go up during the holiday season, but they also go up just because there is a lot of mental stress. And what we mean, people are stressed out. Wives and husbands are filing for evictions and divorce and everything else, and that causes a lot of controversial issues in the home. Domestic violence goes up. Believe it or not, December 1st, the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office evicted 198 people from their homes. And so all of that comes into contrast to what happens inside a detention center. And all these people come in. And so when the people do come in, there are poverty-stricken, homeless, and with a lot of anxiety. So a lot of stress goes inside the detention center when people are arrested. And we don't think about that. We just think about the violent criminals, which also brings another avenue to us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, there are so many things tied to this, right? Mental health, last Friday's stabbing, the second in less than 4 months since Irina Zarutska lost her life. So when we talk about mental health, let's just go there for a minute, because your mental health director did note that some residents won't engage with treatment, even though that is clearly something they need and something that is out there. It is a resource, isn't it?
It is. You have to say that, a lot of the regular person, will a husband talk about what he went through as a child? No. What a wife would talk to the husband about what she went through as a child. And so they're not open for those conversations. So when they're coming into the detention center in the middle of a crisis, because the crisis is their criminal charges, then you want to talk to them about their mental state. They may be reluctant to do that, and then all of a sudden they get inside the pod or the housing unit, and they become immersed inside to that world, and then they won't talk about their mental status. So it's very hard to make people open up and let's talk about their mental capacity and their mental problems. So that is a battle in itself. But the ones that we do take care of, we're happy to take care of them.
Overcrowding an issue, and you said that or your major did say that it reduces efficiencies, raises the risks of incidents. What kind of danger are we talking to staff, to residents in the community?
Well, I think people do not realize what we have to work with each and every day. There's probably 1,600 people inside the detention center at this time today. Think about this. So that is 1,600 people who have been charged with violent crimes and behaviors. So 1,600 people being housed in one building. That is like taking the Marriott downtown and put everybody in who's homeless. And then how do you combat that? So inside our detention center, there are 1,600 people that have allegedly committed a crime, and we have to deal with them. And most of those are violent criminals, and so, or alleged violent criminals. And so we have to tackle that mentally. So our staff will be mentally stressed because now we're going to be inundated with all the people that are not released because of the new law 307, that we're now going to house them and take on that aspect of mental health. So when you're talking about danger, imagine that.
Let's talk about House Bill 307. You've been quite vocal about it. And what do you believe what are the challenges that House Bill 307? Let's start there. I know you've said it before, but just to get people caught up.
The main challenges is funding. Imagine creating something that you have to work with, or you are mandated to do, and they created this bill with no funding. When we say resources is a very loose terminology that most people use. But what about having staff, having the resources to hire more staff to deal with the people with the mental challenges? My staff is probably better than most of the staffs across the state, and here's why. In 2019, we created the first behavioral health pod inside a detention center in the state of North Carolina in 2019. In 2020, we again created another pod just for women. So we had a pod for men and we had a pod for women. 2022, we created what they call the RISE program, restoring individually, safely, and effectively back to society. And what does that mean? People are inside our detention center, are waiting to go to trial, but what they call incapable to proceed, ITP, incapable to proceed. What does that mean? That they cannot assist their lawyer in their trials. So we're restoring these individuals back. That was in 2022. Fast forward, 2025, the state of North Carolina, Department of Human Health and Resources, came to us and says, Sheriff McFadden, since you have done so well, can you help us a little bit more? So we divided the state into three parts. I am what they call the Western District. So 36 other sheriff's offices can send people to me, the Mecklenburg County Detention Center, to be treated for mental health issues. 36 other counties. There's only 100 counties in North Carolina. On my way to this interview today, I spoke to my legal staff. Another county outside of that 36 would like for me to be able to receive their people from their detention center. So now that burden is on us. And think about this. That is being paid for, but the additional people are not.
The Post-Release Resource Center, is that what we're talking about?
No, the Post-Release Center is a whole different animal that we have. The Post-Release Center is for people who are re-entering society and needing help that they normally do not get. So when we found that gap in our system, we created the Post-Release Center, and that's helpful. The RISE program is separate from that.
Okay, and the RISE program is funded?
The RISE program is funded by the state of North Carolina, yes.
All right, so when we talk about resources and lack of resources, what does that mean to you? What do you need? What is the dollar amount?
Dollar amount I couldn't tell you, but staffing, I would say staffing, and we look at housing people at $198 a day. So you think about that. On top of that, and fast forward and kind of mix this up a little, so imagine the immigration issue that we're talking about. We now, because of House Bill 318, we now have to, again, hold people 48 hours longer than they were supposed to be. What do we mean by that? After they have met all the conditions of their release, now we hold them an additional 48 hours for ICE to come and pick them up. That additional 48 hours is costing the taxpayers of Mecklenburg County $398 per stay. That is not funding. Another House bill that was mandated by the lawmakers in Raleigh, that is not funded.
When it comes to House Bill 318, you turn them over, like you said, 2 days, 48 hours. Does this also conflict, or how do you reconcile with you trying to build relationships with the immigrant community?
Well, we're doing a great job building the relationships no matter what they're doing, because we've always built a great relationship and had many conversations with the Latino community during the crisis, after the crisis, and even as of today. So we're still going to build that bridge, and we're confident that we're going to keep, our relationship with them. But when you have what we call the word salad, and that's my new word, the word salad, that you mix the words up and make people believe that you can't do this, or the sheriff is not doing that. For instance, they're saying, well, with the person with the new light rail stabbing, we don't know if the sheriff is going to hold him. Well, that's incorrect, because House Bill 318 mandates me to hold that person, to also include North Carolina General Statute 162.62, which mandates every sheriff in North Carolina to cooperate with ICE. So when we have these word games, it confuses the public, and that brings a lot of anxiety and mistrust also in the community.
All right, so let's clear it up. You actually say that you are obeying everything that you need to, mandated by ICE and the federal government, right?
Absolutely. I can tell you this. You will never hear a lawmaker or any lawmakers or ICE or DHS says this: Sheriff McFadden is not following the law. They will use the word cooperation because they want me to do something that is not is outside of the law. If a federal judge or a magistrate or a state judicial official has not signed a paper, then it is not legally my book. And then he could do this, he could do that, but what they use is the word cooperation. We're looking for the same cooperation that we never get. And so where's that? We don't talk about the cooperation that we're not getting. But we are following the law. You will never hear, the question should be this: is Sheriff McFadden following the law? And stick with that question. Is he following the law?
Irina's Law, 1 week in. You said at yesterday's conference, lawmakers in Raleigh didn't communicate with your office before putting this law into place. That's a pretty significant oversight. What did you need to know in order for this to be implemented?
It's not much we need to know. We just want to have a seat at the table. Have a seat at the table, have your voice heard, and they may find something that they didn't think about. The same thing with the House bills. When House Bill 10 was created, it's not that I found a loophole, I found a misstep. And so then after that misstep, they created House Bill 318. The same thing with Irina's Law. You're always saying is, please come and talk to us, get our opinion, get our facts. And they will always use a good person, Mr. Eddie Caldwell, great guy, our executive director for North Carolina Sheriff Association. Have no problem with him. But the problem is that is their fall guy. they said, well, we talked to Eddie Caldwell. Well, I think that you need to talk to the sheriffs who are actually housing these people and who are in these counties. Surely, talk to Mr. Eddie Caldwell, have him at the table, but have your largest county sheriffs at the table also. Every major city, every major county in North Carolina should have been at that table, because these are the counties that are going to be mostly affected. Sure, they can say, well, we talked to the other counties, they don't have any problems. Well, if your housing is only 200 to 500, then you really don't have a problem. Mine is a 2,000 to 3,000 facility, and we have 1.2 million citizens. That is a significant change in some of these smaller counties. So sure, they may not have the problem. Well, ICE didn't go to their counties either and raid their counties. They came to Mecklenburg, Wake, and Durham.
When you turn someone over to ICE, do you know what happens to them? And do you see them back in the detention center?
We do not. And that is another problem that we are having currently. So as of the law stands now, House Bill 318, ICE can take custody of these individuals within the 48-hour period. Now think about this. They are taking people out of state custody with state charges pending. And so what happened to those state charges that are pending? Well, they can be dismissed by the district attorney's office, or this could happen also, which I have many cases to show. When they take this person out of our state custody with the 48-hour, after the 48-hour hold, under House Bill 318, they take them into custody and they probably will deport them. Well, did they talk to the district attorney's office? Did they talk to the judge? Did they come inside? No. And what happens is, when that person is called for court that day, that person is not present in court. What happens? The judge at that time issues an order for their arrest. So imagine, you inside a detention center on charges, say assault on a female. ICE comes and takes you, deports you, but never tell the judge or never tell the district attorney that they have deported this guy or removed this guy from detention. So then the judge at that time will then issue an order for his arrest. Now, if he's deported, 2 years later he decides to come back to the United States and is say he's caught in California, and he's coming through a traffic stop, and they said, well, you have a warrant outstanding for you in North Carolina. Then he will be taken into custody, being held, and then he will be extradited back to North Carolina. Who is paying for that? The citizens of that county. When he gets back to North Carolina, he's going to walk in and say, ICE deported me. How much of time is that going to take? How much of paperwork is that going to accomplish of him being in ICE custody? All of that is something that they did not think about when they were creating House Bill 318. And who pays for that again? The taxpayers of Mecklenburg County, because now he's back in our custody and we're going to have to keep him in custody till we resolve this issue. Those are the kind of things that we should talk about when we're creating House bills.
This is not a loophole, but something that obviously needs to be addressed.
But this is where they use the word loophole. It is a step that they probably did not think about because they are not in the law enforcement arena.
So the suspect from Friday night's light rail stabbing, he was deported before.
Twice,
came back. He is now in Mecklenburg County custody, and we are going to await his criminal case here, and then hand it over to the feds.
If they choose to.
But
here's what I would suggest to them, and I'm always going to suggest this to them. The civil process of immigration is not working. We can see that, and this is a prime example. We have deported this person twice. And who's paying for that? And now he's been inside our detention center for several days. How long is he going to stay there? What we're simply saying is, if you want this to work, allow this person to stand for his state charges, and after his state charges are finished with, concluded, he's adjudicated, then take him into custody with ICE. Simply taking him out of custody at this time with pending state charges is a problem. What we are asking, or what I should suggest ICE do, but I can't tell them what to do. We always say that I can't tell them what to do. There is a federal law that they could well utilize, but they often do not. And it's called 1326, U.S. Code 1326, which is re-entry after deportation. That is a federal criminal felony crime that they should be charging him with today. If they choose to, can't tell them what to do, but simply putting the detainer on them will hold him in our custody, and when that 48 hours prior to him being released, we will call them and say he can be taken into custody if you wish to. That is what we're asking, but it is up to them because we cannot tell them what to do. But we all know when something does go wrong on their side, they're always going to blame the sheriff's office.
If Irina's law had gone into effect before last Friday, or if Irina's law had been into effect before Irina passed in August, would she still be alive today?
Would she?
Yes.
I don't know. I think that we are, and here's the sad part, we're over-exaggerating this one stabbing death, and we're over-exaggerating this stabbing on the light rail. Think about how many people were injured or stabbed that same day when the person was stabbed on the light rail. And not saying that Irina, we could have prevented that, and we never would know if we could prevent that. But the young man who took her life was diagnosed bipolar and schizophrenia, okay? But 618 people inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center had that same diagnosis. And so it's not unique, but it's unique because it was caught on film, it was nationally sensationalized, and we used the word refugee instead of immigration. So again, we changed the wording to fit the agenda.
Gotcha. So we talked briefly a little bit before you came into the studio about what's happening back to immigration and operations that are happening with Charlotte's Web over. ICE operations still happening. They were happening before Border Patrol came into town, right? And so this is now, it's on the national stage. You're talking to other agencies and local governments in different parts of the country. What are you talking about?
Well, we're talking because nobody's talking to law enforcement. So imagine Border Patrol is going into these cities having no conversation with local law enforcement. Border Patrol came to Charlotte and spent 4 or 5 days, never contacted the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. And why it was so ironic that all this was happening, because doing the interviews on CNN, that is 500 yards from my office. So we had no conversation. We haven't, the right hand of Fellowship for Law Enforcement. We don't even know if these were Border Patrol agents. We just assumed that because we said that they're coming in and doing their work or whatever they're doing. And so myself and other agencies across the country now are having these conversations. What is happening? Why can't we be respected enough just to have a conversation? We cannot stop them from what they're doing because they are federal law enforcement officers, but we surely can have a conversation, collaboration, and 100% communication. And I'm always going to say that because this is all we're asking for. Have a conversation with us. We can help you. We can tell you this is not the way it should happen, but at least have the respect to have the conversation. But everybody that I've talked to across this nation, Chicago and all the other cities, says they have not spoken to us, no communication. So how does that look? Law enforcement comes into a county or cities, terrorize your citizens, drag people out of the car, bust windows out, arrest your legal citizens, then unarrest them and leave them on the side of the road, and you have no conversation with them. That is what we're talking about, and we're going to continue to talk about it till someone hears us.
What does immigration enforcement ideally look like?
Well, it looks like it is unmanned at this time. It's a renegade system. And what we are saying is have a conversation. Now, I'm always going to divide this as I did previously. When I asked ICE, the regional director and the agents to come and have a conversation with me on October 1st, they did. They simply did. So for 6 years, I've been asking for the same thing: cooperation, collaboration, communication. So I sent a letter to ICE again on October 1st. On October 17th, they came to my office. I gave them guidelines. I gave them what they could do and they shouldn't do, or what they ought to do, or what they could do, and here are the guidelines to make our city safe, to make them work in a safe environment, and have people around the courthouse and around the government centers safe when they're taking care of an operation. So far, ICE has listened, ICE has been cooperative, and ICE have been in great communication with us. They did a small operation a couple of days ago to remove 4 people. Nobody knew about it. It was very well orchestrated, and it's a great operation. So all we're asking anyone to do, if you're going to operate here in the county of Mecklenburg County and the city of Charlotte, have a conversation with us. That's all we're asking.
Communication.
Communication.
All right, Sheriff McFadden, thank you for coming in. Anything else you want to talk about today? Because I'm going to have you in here again.
No, we should have these conversations because the conversations are great. Just having the conversation. Irina law has passed. House Bill 318 has passed. So we're going to work with it. Mental health is going to be our issue that we're going to be focusing on for the next couple of years. And if we don't combat that, then we're going to definitely be in a bigger problem in our city.
Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden joining us here live in the Live Impact Studio. Appreciate the conversation with you today.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, 9:41 is the time. Thanks for hanging with us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. President Trump talking on the latest economy stands and where it stands. This from Alice Barr in Washington.
Important number, sacred number.
President Trump prepping for a big speech on the economy today in battleground Pennsylvania, as voters signal they're not happy with the issues central to his election in a series of polls. Most recently, Gallup, showing just 36% of those surveyed satisfied with the president's handling of the economy. He argues he inherited a mess.
The Democrats caused the affordability problem, and we're the ones that are fixing it. So it's a very simple statement. They caused it, we're fixing it.
on Monday announcing a $12 billion aid package for farmers paid for through tariff revenues and targeting prices.
It'll help them continue their efforts to lower food prices for American families.
It's the latest in a series of executive actions aimed at addressing economic concerns, even as President Trump has publicly downplayed the affordability crisis.
Use the word affordability. It's a Democrat hoax. They're the ones that drove the prices up.
Democrats seizing on that language.
They don't plan to address the high cost of living in this country because they don't even believe that it exists.
While on Capitol Hill, a Senate vote this week on whether to extend expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies, bringing the specter of soaring health insurance premiums for millions back to the forefront. Republicans pressing for reforms.
Just throwing more money at insurance companies means costs just keep going up. That doesn't solve the problem.
Democrats argue Americans in need can't wait, pushing to keep the issue top of mind with critical midterm elections now less than a year away. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
All right, we are working on a special guest to bring into the Live Impact show this morning. We'll do that here right after the break. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 9:46 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, let's talk sports a little bit. Carolina Panthers off a bye, looking forward to the Bucks this weekend. And Coach Canales speaking to press yesterday ahead of the game. We'll play this for you now here on Live Impact News.
I was watching the game, wanted to make sure that I was connected to the story of it. I got to be honest, I got a little emotionally involved in the game, at times. And, it's something I try to, remind our players is like, hey, watch these games. Let's try not to get too, emotionally connected. But how can you not? It impacts all of us in this division, and certainly it impacts us going into this week with another division opponent.
So I had Red Zone on the big TV, and then I had the Saints and Bucks on the phone. So yeah, I think it's weird, right? Especially this week where we play them immediately. Yeah. I'm just like, that was a dirty game. The rain was going. It was a mud pit down there, and that's always a fun game to be a part of too. And it is big time. Quarterback Tyler, I was a big fan yesterday. I had a couple big runs for him, so it was awesome. And now it's kind of like, all right, bonus Monday, we can laugh about it, and then we come back Wednesday. Let's get back to work, and we got to take care of it.
I don't think it was odd. I think it was just football being football. Any given Sunday. So I think we were already lucky to have that week to study for the Saints. Obviously because they beat us last go around. So we're excited to go to New Orleans this week.
Week 14 bye is it. Week 14.
I think when we played the Saints last, I didn't like how it went. So I'm watching it just to know that we're going to play that team. And those few past weeks they didn't, had some chippy games and that they could have pulled off, and they pulled that one off yesterday. So not as a fan, as a villain.
All right, no villains here, right? Back here now in the Live Impact studio at 9:47. If you have kids that are waiting for Santa, put down what you're doing because you're going to want to listen to this. Right now, this time, NORAD is once again tracking Santa Claus, getting ready to, because Santa's going to make his journey very soon around the world. So joining us live this morning is Chief Warrant Officer Deepan Mistry, the Chief Warrant Officer for 1st Canadian Air Division and Canadian NORAD region. Chief, thank you for joining us this morning. And I know you guys are busy preparing for Christmas Eve.
We are. Thanks for having me.
All right. Can you tell us where Santa is right now? I'm sure he's still in North Pole preparing all the presents, but, what do you guys do to prepare for his trip?
So you're absolutely right. Before December 24th, Santa's still in the North Pole, as far as we know. Our systems have not picked up any movement from Santa just yet. So we use the same systems that we use to track threats to North America from aerospace control warning and maritime warning point of view. And we use radars, satellites, and military aircraft to track Santa. And we do know that on December 24th at around 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Santa Claus leaves the North Pole based on our radar tracks.
Well, you have a full staff, it looks like. Rooms and rooms of people and watching monitors. How do you coordinate that between teams of folks? Obviously, like they're the elves to the elves.
So we have approximately 1,000 uniformed and civilian members, both Canadian and U.S. military, and we have volunteers from the Colorado Springs community that come together to help track Santa every year.
How has technology progressed and advanced since the beginning days of NORAD and tracking Santa?
So technology, as we all know, advances every year. It's just constantly evolving. But from a NORAD point of view, our systems remain the same, although they are a little bit more advanced. But we do use our radars, which includes the North Warning System, based in northern Canada and Alaska. We use satellites, and our satellites have infrared sensors in geosynchronous orbit, and we use military aircraft, a combination of U.S. and Canadian aircraft, which is U.S. F-15s, F-16s, F-22s, F-35s, and Canadian CF-18s.
So impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about how this tradition started?
Yeah, so this tradition started 70 years ago. So in 1955, there was an advertisement in a Sears catalog that published a phone number for children to be able to contact this phone number to find out Santa's location. Well, this phone number was off by one digit. And the phone number listed actually put children through to the Continental Aerospace Defense Command, the predecessor of NORAD. And a colonel picked up the phone and was surprised to hear a children's voice on the other end asking for Santa's location. He played along, and we've continued the tradition for 70 years now.
Oh gosh, I forgot the story. That is so sweet to hear about how it started, and really helping Santa during his mission. If kids want to try to keep track of Santa's travels as well, how do they do that?
There's various ways. There is a website, noradsanta.org, where children can keep track of Santa's location on a map. There's also a phone number that children can call. The phone number is 1-877-HI-NORAD, And operators are standing by in the operations center to provide Santa's exact location at any given point in time on December 24th.
Yeah, what are kids asking now these days when they're calling up?
The big thing is, when is Santa going to visit my home, and where is Santa right now? And our answer is normally to really just let the kids know that, to arrive at their home. We do know, based on past experience, that Santa visits home between 9 p.m. and midnight on December 24th, but he won't visit when children are awake. So he will wait until children are sleeping. So if children are awake at a specific home, he will skip it and come back later.
Do you have any favorite moments or memories from NORAD's Santa's tracking operations?
So for me, it was, as a kid, I used the phone number as well, 1-877-HI-NORAD, to track Santa's location. I just remember having that joy of knowing where Santa was on that day. And now working in the NORAD Operations Center, it's now come full circle, and it just makes me happy to be able to provide that same information to children today.
That is so great. And your message to children waiting for Santa then all night
is to be patient, go to sleep at when your parents tell you to, because Santa will come to your home. Like I said, if you're not sleeping, Santa is going to have to come back again. So be patient.
All right. We appreciate NORAD's help in Santa being efficient, helping the kids know what to look out for, and trying to get them to bed. It's always good for the families to get them to bed at a decent time. I always found it so tempting to keep an eye open. Very difficult to sleep that night.
You and I both.
All right. Chief Warrant Officer Mystery, we thank you for letting us in a little bit, peeking behind the curtain a little bit on NORAD's operations. 70 years. Unbelievable. It's awesome. Thanks for taking your time.
It's our privilege to North America.
All right. No coal in my stocking. All right. We thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 9:57 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. So last night was the City Council meeting. During public comments, someone did raise the question about rail safety in light of last Friday night's latest light rail stabbing. And the mayor went ahead and answered that question. We'll give you this response in case you missed it last night here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Good evening, council members. My name is Zi Hui, and I'm a third-year student at UNC Charlotte. I'm here today to speak about recent instances of violence in our city and their implications on our community. I'm an EMT first responder and a research assistant in an NIH-funded lab at UNC Charlotte that researches bystander intervention. For some context, I would like to tell you about the murder of Kitty Genovese. While walking home from work, she was stabbed twice and raped by Winston Mosley. This occurred on a public street, all while Kitty screamed for help. This case is notable because police later reported that as many as 37 people witnessed this incident, and no one came to her aid as she died. This 1964 landmark case led to the creation of the bystander intervention field. I tell you this so that you may understand why, as social psychologists, the recent light rail murder of Irina Zarutska, where bystanders similarly did not help, are concerning to us. And as a first responder, I can't help but wonder whether the outcome of this stabbing could have been different if bystander intervention had occurred. Researchers at UNC Charlotte's Violence Prevention Center have the expertise and skills to tangibly assist the city and the Charlotte area transit system in developing a comprehensive violence prevention program. So I'm speaking today to request that you use any connections you may have to urge the city's transportation systems to work with us in prioritizing evidence-based violence prevention and bystander intervention programming as part of the city's public safety efforts. People are wired to freeze in emergency situations. So this isn't a failure of the individual person, it's the city's failure to properly prepare its individuals and build a community that is intolerant of violence. While increasing security presence is a natural start to addressing public safety, it's only a superficial solution, one that has yet to demonstrate efficacy. As just last Friday, Charlotte experienced another stabbing on the very same train system that killed Irina. Evidently, we need a better way to buy the city time so that we may address the underlying systematic problems of mental health and housing. I see hope for change in a community-centered approach because videos of people coming to the aid of others during recent CBP operations in Charlotte prove that we are a community that intensely cares for each other. We just need the city to meet us there. The burden of violent crime should not have to fall on bystanders who likely become traumatized by these incidents. But the deafening lack of attention given to Irina Zarutska in the released train video demonstrates a need for action. The burden of violent crimes, therefore, falls on our city's government to support a community that does not normalize violence. So let us help you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for coming down today. I really appreciate the passion and the expertise that you're giving us from our university. I want you to know that everyone deserves to feel safe in Charlotte, and that remains to be this council's priority. We want to improve safety. We've increased police presence. We've strengthened everything, but you have brought us things to think about, experiences that may be able to do something. So I really want to say that as much as we've been doing, last week, for example, CMPD, along with multiple local and state law enforcement agencies, launched an operation of Safe Season, where people were working together, as you talked about, how do we get to frame that together? So I really want you to know we're really working hard on it. And while some of these public safety matters fall outside of what we do, we all know that it matters for everyone that lives in our city. And so I hope that you will have an opportunity to meet and our new police chief, Steve Patterson, has been active actively engaged in how do we do better and how do we do more. And we all understand that. I think sometimes I look at you and I think you're really smart and you're going to help us along the way. So as much as possible, stay in touch with us. And as we continue this journey, we're going to get over it. We're going to make sure that people in our city understand that they can be here and be safe. So thank you very much for coming down today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to say, would you connect with Sean, who will get all of the information that helps us stay in touch with you, because that makes a big difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I also want to say to the council that I've asked CATS to provide an update to council this week on the transit security plan as it has enacted over the past several months, so that we can all understand where we all are and where everything else is standing. So we'll look forward to that additional information this week. All right. Thank you very much.
All right, and on that topic, our Destiny Richards covering the story this morning. She was on WCNC Plus with our Ben Thompson and Lisa Washington. If you missed that an hour or so ago, here is that feature now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Continuing coverage this morning, the man accused of stabbing a passenger on the Blue Line Friday night remains in jail this morning without bond.
33-year-old Oscar Solorzano is accused of stabbing 24-year-old Kenyon Doby in the chest. According to the Department of Homeland Security, Solorzano is being charged with attempted first-degree murder, and prosecutors say he was already banned from CATS property when the attack happened. As this investigation continues, many commuters are on edge, expressing concerns about riding the light rail.
And members of Charlotte's immigrant community say fear is sinking even deeper for them. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live in NODA, sharing how the impact is weighing heavy on all sorts of different people across the city of Charlotte.
That's right. We're hearing from riders who say their sense of safety has changed, and immigrant advocates who say that fear that's already existing in the community is continuing to grow. Now, for some commuters, a routine ride on the light rail now comes with extra caution. Riders tell us they're staying more alert, changing where they stand, and paying close attention to their surroundings. But the impact stretches well beyond the platform. Latino community leaders say many families are still trying to recover from recent ICE and Border Patrol raids. They say learning the stabbing suspect was living in the country illegally has added a new layer of anxiety, both for personal safety and for how the community is viewed.
The Latino community still isn't 100% back to normal, and I don't know if there ever will be 100% back to normal. And incidents like this that keeps happening, it's just honestly, it's putting a lot of fear, not only within the Latino community, but within the Charlotte community as a whole as well.
Community leaders are calling for stronger safety measures for public transit, but also for solutions that protect people without targeting entire communities. Live in NODA, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
And we'll take a little break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. Back now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus at 10:07, happening live right now after about a 40-minute delay out of Dedham, Massachusetts, is the murder trial for Brian Walsh, accused of killing his wife back on New Year's Day in 2023. Continuing with testimony now, I believe his name is Matthew Sheehan. Matthew Sheehan now being cross-examined. Let's listen in on Live Impact News.
Directionality and things like that.
Yes.
And there was nothing in this home that you're aware of that could be described as blood spatter evidence.
That is correct.
You were also asked questions yesterday on direct examination about luminol toward the very end of the direct examination, correct?
Yes.
And you gave a brief definition for the jurors of what luminol is, correct?
Correct.
You saw no evidence of any container that had contained anything like luminol in the Cohasset home, did you?
Correct.
And in fact, you have no evidence that luminol was ever used in the home in Cohasset by anyone, correct?
Correct.
I want to ask you something a little bit about this testing, the instrument that you used for testing. Yesterday you referred to swab K in Exhibit 216, photograph 1066. If I could have, if you don't mind, Exhibit 216, Ms. Gilman. And those are the swabs that you would then use, that you collected from some of the basement floor stains, the A through G, correct?
Yes.
And could I now have Exhibit 217, photograph 1067? What we saw yesterday is, that is a Ceratec instrument, so to speak, that the Mass State Police uses to then analyze something like a stain you would find on the floor, like you did in the basement, to determine if it was blood, correct?
Correct.
Can you tell the jury, when you talked about screening tests and confirmatory tests, was that the screening test or a confirmatory test?
This is the confirmatory test.
Now, there are certain protocols that you, as a forensic analyst, have to use the Ceratec product, right?
Yes.
And without going into it, I think it's fair to say, and you tell me if I'm wrong, whenever you used that instrument, you used it correctly, didn't you?
Yes.
And you don't have any reason to believe that the results that you relied on in testing the biological evidence in this case, that the evidence that flowed from this Ceratec instrument was erroneous, correct?
Correct.
You would agree, wouldn't you, that these instruments are very sensitive, correct?
Yes.
And the protocols actually suggest in using this instrument that you shouldn't use a liquid that is undiluted because it may overwhelm the instrument. So you dilute it, correct?
Correct.
In fact, the sensitivity of the Ceratec HEM instrument that you used, by the way, HEM, H-E-M, does that stand for hemoglobin?
It is I believe so. I'm not sure if it stands for hemoglobin or not.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. That is the substance of the blood that this testing instrument is testing for, correct?
Yes.
And it's sensitive to the point that it can determine the presence of hemoglobin at the quantity of 20 nanograms per milliliter. That's what it says in the protocols, right?
It sounds correct. I would have to review the protocol.
Okay. And just as I'm going to look for that, I'll just ask you this. 20 nanograms per milliliter. I'm correct, aren't I, that a nanogram is 1/billionth of a gram?
Yes.
So 20 nanograms is simply 20 billionths of a gram, correct?
Correct.
That is, and I'm not a scientist like you, but that's a pretty small amount of substance, isn't it?
Yes.
It's something that you can't even see with just your plain old eyes, right?
Correct.
So it's fair to say that in checking this home for blood evidence that you were using an instrument that if you swabbed an area of the home, you could detect the presence of hemoglobin if it only was there in the amount of 20 nanograms per milliliter, right?
Correct.
And the only place in this home in Cohasset that you found anything of blood evidence of significance were those areas you told us about in the basement, correct?
Correct.
May I approach you?
You may.
You mentioned the protocols and that it sounded right when I said 20 nanograms per milliliter. I'm just going to show you page 2 of the protocols. Just ask you to read it to yourself. And after having done that, if you could just look up and tell me you read it. Are you ready?
Yes.
So, having reviewed that document, do you recognize that document as protocols applicable to the blood testing instrument we've been talking about?
That is the protocol that comes with the Sarachek card itself. We also have internal lab protocols that we follow for the specific testing.
You will agree that the protocol that I just showed you, though, does specifically state that the sensitivity of this instrument is at 20 nanograms per milliliter, correct?
Yes.
So,
as you watch live, the Brian Walsh murder trial taking place right now. Top left of your screen is Massachusetts Governor Laura Healey press conference there requesting to extend the Affordable Care Act. We're going to go ahead and dip into this now and listen live on Live Impact News.
Insurance to nearly 400,000 people in Massachusetts and hundreds of millions across the country is going to expire the end of this month. Now, let me tell you who we're talking about, okay? Of the 400,000 people, a lot of them are small business owners. They're people who are self-employed. They're middle-class families, single parents, all across our state. But unfortunately, because of President Trump and Republicans in Congress, these tax credits are going to expire, and people are essentially going to lose their health care coverage. I mean that because what's going to happen is without these tax credits, people are going to see their health insurance costs go up, double, triple. Some families are going to find themselves paying as much as $25,000 a year for health care coverage. Nobody can afford that kind of increase. Nobody can afford that kind of increase. So these disastrous price increases go in effect in less than 3 weeks now. And as a result, we're going to see Bay Staters all over the place effectively lose their health care, lose their health care insurance. I have repeatedly called on President Trump and Republicans in Congress to act. All they need to do is just take a vote and extend these credits for some amount of time. Because if they don't, people are going to suffer. People are going to go without care. It's totally unaffordable, it's totally unacceptable, and it just doesn't need to be. I really worry about the woman right now who's getting treatment for breast cancer. What's she going to do when these rates go up? She's not going to be able to afford it. What do we say to people with heart disease right now who are going to lose access to their treatment and won't get the care that they desperately need? Our kids who need access to medications for asthma and other things. I mean, at the end of the day, people here in Massachusetts and around this country, because of what Donald Trump has done and because of what congressional Republicans have done, are going to lose their health insurance. It's just not right, and it just doesn't need to be this way. So there's still time for Washington to fix this. There's a vote this Thursday. This Thursday, senators will be voting on whether or not to extend health care for Americans. I call on them to vote to provide this health care coverage. And I call on President Trump, who, by the way, is making a speech, I think today. All he needs to do is direct them to provide this health insurance, to not take away health care coverage from millions and millions of Americans, including those here in Massachusetts. It's very simple, and my message to President Trump and Congress is simple. Do your job, fix this, and protect people. Protect people by making sure that they continue to have health care coverage and that their costs not go up. People can't afford health care coverage as it is. And President Trump needs to take action to keep costs from going up if he cares about affordability, and to ensure that people continue to have access to this health care coverage. I've also looked at what we can do as a state to help people in this current moment. I've directed Director Gasteyer to go to D.C. tomorrow. She will be testifying before Congress on this issue to lay out the impacts here in Massachusetts, so that no one in Washington can say that they don't know what's happening and that they don't know the impact that this is going to have on Americans around this country, and that it's up to them to do the right thing. The other thing I've done is, because I'm going to do all that I can here in Massachusetts to help residents deal with the current situation. I'm doing this because lowering your health care costs is important to me. I want to lower your health care costs and do everything I can to do that, even if the President and Congress are going in another direction. And I want to make sure that you and your family have access to the care that you need. That's why earlier this year, I capped deductibles and copays for the first time in our state's history. We've set up a website right now that you can go on if you're one of those 400,000 people out there facing this devastating cliff in just 3 weeks. You can go to the Health Connector website. We set up a portal there, and you can understand your options. They're laid out for you and your family. And we have people standing by who are ready to help you and ready to help you navigate this current landscape. But the most critical thing in this moment is for President Trump and Republicans in Congress to act and to vote on Thursday to extend these credits so that people's health care does not get canceled in this country. And I ask everybody to call on Republicans in Congress and in the Senate to vote on Thursday to save health care, to protect Americans, to protect people here in Massachusetts. Tell them to extend those health care credits. It's that simple. Tell them to do their job, get it done. People are dealing with enough uncertainty and anxiety, and every day I am focused on affordability, driving down housing costs, energy costs, and yes, health care costs. And I hope that the President, when he makes a speech today about affordability, does the simplest thing he can and make sure that costs not continue to go up when it comes to health care, simply by directing Congress to vote to extend these tax credits. I'd now like to call up Director Gasteyer to say a little bit more.
Good morning, and thank you, Governor Healy, for your leadership and continuing to urge policymakers in Washington, D.C. for an extension of the premium tax credits that make health insurance affordable and care accessible to hundreds of thousands of Massachusetts residents and millions of Americans. At the Health Connector, we are 2 weeks away from our biggest deadline of the year. December 23rd is the last day that residents can enroll in a plan to start January 1st. For both existing enrollees and new applicants, starting the new year with coverage is a priority, and we will be busier than ever over the next couple of weeks. The primary reason for the increased activity this year is the lack of action by congressional Republicans and President Trump to extend the enhanced premium tax credits that keep health coverage affordable for 22 million Americans, including over 330,000 people here covered through the Health Connector in Massachusetts. Having affordable coverage is the bedrock of financial security, which matters more than ever. It means you can get the care you need if you have an accident or unexpected illness without medical debt. It enables you to get and stay well. Coverage is the doorway to life-saving cancer screenings, to primary care, and medications to manage chronic conditions. As we approach our December 23rd deadline, we want to be sure that our enrollees and applicants have access to the information that they need to make the right decisions before our deadline in order to keep covered. Our Get an Estimate tool is a good starting point to begin planning for your coverage for next year. For our current enrollees, the tool can quickly provide details on available plans and premiums, and also the quick flexibility for users to adjust information to see how changes in information can change eligibility for financial assistance that may affect what you pay each month. For people who need coverage, the tool is
All right, we are going to leave that scene right now in Massachusetts and take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Back here now at 10:25 on Live Impact News on WCNC+. If you were with us in the 9 o'clock hour, we brought you some breaking news coverage of a fire that has now escalated to a 4-alarm fire in the middle of Manhattan. FDNY now running a briefing on this fire of a 6th-story building in the Upper West Side. Let's go ahead and listen in now on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Chief of Operations Kevin Woods. At 8:20 this morning, the fire department received a report of a fire at 201 West 107th Street here on the corner of Amsterdam Avenue. Our units arrived here in a little over 3 minutes. That is a very, very impressive response time. This building is a 6-story non-fireproof building with 4 apartments per floor. Upon arrival, we had heavy fire on that top floor and through the roof. Fire heavily involved 3 of those 4 apartments, but that 4th apartment and some of the apartments below have heavy damage. Our engine companies moved in very aggressively and did extinguish a tremendous amount of fire, but due to the amount of fire and the structural stability, we had to remove them to below that top floor and open up with tower ladders. These are large caliber streams and able to extinguish that fire. We had 1 occupant that we found on the top floor, and our firefighters were able to walk that occupant down to the street and hand over to EMS. And we had another occupant on the 3rd floor that we walked down and handed to EMS. And we had 1 firefighter with a minor burn injury, and our chief of EMS will speak to those injuries in a little while. Again, heavy damage to these apartments. We had a heavy collapse of the roof space into the top floor and also of the parapet wall into the street. The parapet wall is the extension of the exterior wall above the roof line. As you can see, we have a collapse zone set up not only in the street, but on the roof and inside those apartments. Right now, we will be going under control shortly. We will maintain a watch line of presence on this scene throughout the day. At this time, I'll turn it over to Chief Miano to speak about the injuries.
Hey, good morning. My name is Paul Miano. I'm the acting chief. Three of the firefighter with a minor burn. One of the residents was removed from one of the floors, along with with a ladder company, non-ambulatory patient, a ladder company, and our rescue paramedics entered the building and made sure the patient was okay, and then brought the patient down. It just goes to show, again, the collaboration between our rescue paramedic program and our firefighters, how we're able to get inside and get the patients that we weren't able to get to prior to this. So that and the quick response is just a testament of what the fire department does for the city every single day, and our EMS members do as well. So thank you very much.
At this time, we'll take any questions.
Can you talk about the complications fighting fire in weather like this?
Sure. Firefighting, to begin with, firefighting is physically demanding. In weather like this, as you can see, we're working with our partners, Department of Sanitation. We're trying to spread salt on the street and sidewalk. Many people already took falls. So as soon as the water leaves the hose line, it starts to freeze on the ground. And you can see there's an awful lot of water here. Thank you.
Yeah. The three injuries were minor injuries, yes, to the civilians, as well as the firefighter.
And then what did you call that part of the roof that you said is sticking out? Can you describe what is that made out of? What is the material?
The part of the actual brick above the roof line is called the parapet. On the outside of the parapet is called the cornice. It's sheet metal, and it's attached to that building, and during the fire conditions, obviously, it's held onto the brick with attachment points, and it heats up and then they release, and that's why we have that collapse zone. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, working with the buildings department as well later today. No cause at this time. We'll keep you posted. Anything else? So nobody walks beneath that area. So we anticipate further collapse of that cornice. As you can see, it's hanging off of the building. So we have to get up there and try to secure that or remove it.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief, I'm just curious, where were the rescues from? There was somebody on the 6th floor?
Yeah, we had one occupant on the 6th floor. We were able to shelter them in place in one of the apartments, and we were able to actually walk them down the stairs. So non-life-threatening injury.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
All right, just getting you caught up on a 4-alarm fire in the middle of Upper West Side there in New York City. Major 6-story building, not fireproof, but an partial collapse now as fire crews still deal with the cleanup. We're going to take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 10:33 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. So it is chilly here in the Carolinas. Welcome to December and wintry weather. Check this out. This is from our Dallas Tower camera, and that is indeed ice. Clouds in the background. James, how cold is it now?
So it's 32 degrees here on the ground in Charlotte. The first time we've been at freezing for the last 10 hours, where we dropped down to 28 at the Charlotte Douglas Airport. I don't know the exact temperature of where our camera is located, but I can tell you, Jane, this camera shot is coming to us from about 1,400, 1,500 feet up. Yeah. So there is ice. Frozen moisture in the air above us.
It is there. All right. So just looking at that, it's kind of a cool shot.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich tells us this is called rim ice. It's just like when you see dew or condensation, little water droplets that adhere to things, and it just froze because obviously the moisture was in the air. It got onto our tower, the temperature dropped below zero, and then those moisture molecules froze.
All right, so when were we above freezing?
So we were last above freezing at about midnight. It's 10 a.m. now. We're at 32 degrees, and we're going to try to make it to 42 today.
All right.
With that big fireball in the sky called the sun, which I feel like we haven't seen in a
I know. It really has felt like forever. All right, but it's okay. We're here. We're hanging out in the Live Impact studio, right? Thank you for joining us every morning, 9 to 11. Let's take you out live now. We have one of our live feeds happening in D.C. This is the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's a hearing talking about online safety and protecting children online. This is WCNC Plus. Thanks for watching.
Age 17. I stand before you as a mother whose only child was taken by something so preventable, so cruel, and so ignored that it should shake every person in this room to their core. One of the messages sent to my son, and I quote, "I am more determined to rot your life than to make it a waste, a trash can, a shame, a dishonor, a hell, a real disaster, a hell on earth. And I remind you that I am heartless. I have no pity to rot a life as well as yours." This was one of almost 200 messages sent to my child over the span of 19 and a half hours between November 18th and 19th, 2022. James was the victim of financial sextortion, and though he died by suicide, let me be clear, he was murdered. James was a beautiful young man with a soul like gold and a smile that would light up any room. He would give you the shirt off his back. He could figure out anything. He was witty, thoughtful, kind, and loved chess. James was a high school senior. He wanted to major in pre-law, and he was months away from breaking a 40-year-old school record in the 110 hurdles. Every time I speak of him, I smile because I am grateful God let me borrow his angel for 17 and a half years. But every day I am angry. A woman online befriended James on Instagram. She created what every predator knows how to build, a safe space. She made him feel comfortable, seen, liked. She groomed him. Then she asked if he wanted to see her unclothed and exposed herself. She asked him to do the same. And like any innocent 17-year-old boy who liked a girl and saw no danger, he did. That moment she created became their weapon. The attackers came, not one person, but what we believe, at least four. For nearly 20 hours, they attacked, threatened, terrorized, dismantled my child. Every time he tried to fight back and ask, "Why are you doing this to me? Please leave me alone," they escalated, sending his image to friends and family, telling him he would be labeled a pedophile, telling him his future was over, telling him you should just kill yourself. And in those last moments, my son, who had everything to live for, felt like he had no other choice. A day that started with laughter, college friends, and joy ended with my husband finding our child unalive in our home in the middle of the day. No parent should ever enter a room and see that. I stand here because 19 and a half hours is not a short time in the digital world. It is a lifetime. It is enough time for someone to intervene, to flag an account, to cancel messages, to report this behavior, yet no one stepped in. No system protected him. No platform stopped it. So my husband and I created the Do It for James Foundation. And since the day that James have died, we dedicated our lives to speaking out, teaching, and fighting so that no other parent feels the pain that sits in our heart every single moment of every single day. Large corporations continue to argue for rights while refusing to take responsibility. We are asking you to put laws in place that give us multiple avenues to protect our kids, because parental controls alone are not enough. Click here to opt out at age 13 is not protection. Predators thrive when the risk is low but reward is high. Criminals are making billions by exploiting our children. Because we tell our parents, monitor your kids better, while platforms refuse to monitor predators at all. How dare we lay blame on the victims while criminals walk free? Today, instead of checking on James' homework, instead of mailing him care packages to his college dorm, instead of cheering him on for track meets, I hold a picture of my son's photos that he never had a chance to see. Because that is all I have left. 17 and a half years of memories, but no new ones. So I am begging you to stand with us, stand up, do something, help us save lives. We may not be able to save them all, but with the right laws, with accountability, with real consequences, we can make it harder for predators to win. We can make it harder for another parent to bury their child. Please do it for James. Do it for every child whose name we never got a chance to learn. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin, and members of the committee. Thank you for inviting me to testify here today. My name is Jessica Lieber-Smolar, and I had the honor of serving as an Assistant United States Attorney in the Western District of Pennsylvania for 3 decades. During my career as a federal prosecutor, I personally handled and oversaw hundreds of child exploitation and human trafficking investigations and prosecutions. When I first began prosecuting these offenses, investigations often centered around physical evidence and traditional mail-based exchanges. Over time, I witnessed a monumental shift in the types of child sexual abuse material, also referred to as CSAM, that offenders collected, as well as their methods of collection. This shift was not limited to the sheer volume and disturbing nature of the material. It also encompassed the tools offenders used to acquire, share, and conceal CSAM. Today, every child exploitation case involves the criminal use of cellular phones and computers. Offenders use these tools to stockpile massive quantities of sexually explicit videos and images of children, frequently targeting prepubescent children. Violent depictions of infants and toddlers being sexually exploited were routinely collected by the defendants whom I prosecuted. Offenders also increasingly used advanced technology and platforms for CSAM trafficking. They congregate in online communities and darknet forums solely devoted to child exploitation. They can now more easily conceal their crimes and their identities through encryption, VPNs, the darknet, and remote erasure software. The law has not kept pace with the rapid technological advances or evolving sex offender behavior. United States Sentencing Guidelines, Section 2G 2.2, was designed when CSAM was distributed by mail. So it adds offense enhancements for actions common to all CSAM offenders today, like using a computer, possessing images of prepubescent minors, or amassing many images. The guideline enhancements apply broadly and no longer reflect varying levels of offender culpability or risk. Legislation is needed to amend the CSAM guidelines. The Sentencing Commission's June 2021 report found that Section 2G2 is outdated, leading judges to exercise their discretion to reduce sentences for child sexual offenders. The Commission's data for fiscal year 2019 showed that less than 30% of non-production child pornography offenders were sentenced within the recommended guidelines. This statistic reflects broad judicial dissatisfaction and leads to inconsistent sentencing nationwide. As federal prosecutors, my colleagues and I often considered plea offers to binding sentences to avoid the application of the insufficient sentencing guidelines and sentencing disparities. There are also emerging crimes that are not fully covered by existing criminal statutes, such as those committed by members of the violent online network 764. The 764 members befriend children sometimes as young as 9 years old. Through popular online
All right, we will take a last break here for your 9 to 11 stretch on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be back. At 10:45 on Live Impact News, want to bring you an update on a building fire in New York City. Still working, but this is what it looked like hours ago when fire crews arrived on scene around 8:20 this morning. This is on the Upper West Side on 107th near Amsterdam, and you could see it just raging. Flames from the top floor of this 6-story building. Cause is unknown at this point, but there is some flaming debris raining onto the ground below, and those firefighters dealing with some precarious conditions to try and rescue people. They did find at least one person stuck on the 4th floor that they were able to bring down for treatment. We are hearing of no major injuries, but one firefighter did suffer a burn injury, is expected to be okay. Top floor obviously destroyed as the roof collapsed onto the top floor. Each floor, we've learned, has 4 apartment buildings, 4 units on each floor. So just wanted to show you what it looks like just hours ago. It is still very dangerous to be in the area, 25 degrees, and all of that water turning pretty much into ice on the sidewalk, and 19-degree wind chill. So as you can imagine, quite the situation there. Wow, those pictures are incredible. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Upper West Side, if you're familiar with the area, a major fire, they elevated it from 3 alarms to 4 alarms, just meaning more crews had to arrive to deal with fighting the flames. All right, let's end on a positive note, because we do know and are very proud of Johnson C. Smith University. They're football champions, the CIAFF conference, and some remarks were presented on their major accomplishment. We're going to play this for you now here on WCNC Plus.
Process design contract amendment. Marie, we did have a chance to discuss it earlier, but can you give me an update as to this amendment for the McAlpine Creek wastewater treatment plant?
Yes, ma'am, and thank you. This amendment was required because once they got into the design phase and really started looking at it, they realized that part of the processing equipment had reached end of life and needed to be replaced, especially since the speed is going to be going up with this new design improvements.
Thank you very much. Also, for number 34, the airport west ramp dual taxi lanes change order. This is amendment number 5 on this particular contract, which now creates a grand total of $23,592,462,022. Help me understand. Mainly, I want to ensure that there is a plan.
All right, we'll get to the right endpoint here on the comments from Charlotte City Council, but this was a good time to then show you this breaking news. This is a car fire, as you can see there, on I-77. Where is this, James? Remount?
The desk has just alerted me. Yeah, it's in that general remount area. This is mile marker 6, so this is just south of Uptown, and just moments ago, this same camera was showing flames shooting out of the car. So firefighters have been able to extinguish those flames. We can still see smoke coming out of the vehicle.
Okay, so northbound side of 77 near Remount, that will definitely cause delays, as it looks like there is only one lane open to get through. But hopefully, because the fire was put out so quickly, that they'll be able to reopen at least another lane shortly. Something to keep in mind, though.
Here's what it looked like just moments ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looked like minutes ago.
That is tough. Yeah, poor thing. All right, well, car fire there, North 77 at Remount, just south of Uptown. Ooh, something you don't like to see and certainly don't want to be stuck in. All right, let's get back to the consent items from last night's Charlotte City Council meeting, including Johnson C. Smith giving them their props on becoming CIAA football champions.
No.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I just didn't see it. Thank you. All right. Our next, now that we'll start off with moving to awards and recognitions portion of our agenda. We have some special guests that we have here this evening, and I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Graham to introduce them.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight is a proud moment for the city and especially for the Beatties Ford Road corridor that I am honored to represent. It is my privilege to welcome the 2025 CIAA football champions, the Johnson C. Smith University Golden Bills, to the chamber, as well as the Level Bills, our university cheerleaders, that's won this championship for the first time in 56 years. For me, this moment is personable.
Need to bring you back to this scene here on I-77. Just as I said, that car fire is out. It has reignited, James, North 77 near Remount, mile marker 6. Wow, there must have been a lot of fuel in that, but just kind of re-sparked. It looked like there was just white smoke hanging out there for a while.
And we will certainly get back to the accolades of Johnson C. Smith coming up probably this afternoon on Live Impact, but we were looking at these pictures here. That whole car is now engulfed, Jane.
Yes, I can't tell exactly what the make of the car is, but oh my goodness, so dangerous. You have just the one car and then a truck in front of it. I don't know if it appears to be maybe a fender bender and then it just pulled off, or a Good Samaritan kind of case.
It's a good question. It's a good observation that we do have that truck carrying something there in
Some
front of it.
load.
But some sort of passenger vehicle. We have the Charlotte Fire Department, several firefighters here. So they've got the center and the right lane closed. The vehicle itself is in the right shoulder. They are still letting other drivers pass on the left-hand side, but talk about rubbernecking.
I mean, yeah, as you can imagine, with only one lane open and then so much to look at. I don't know if we have any kind of cameras or a map to see where that backup will extend.
Sure,
but this
working on
is,
that right now.
yeah, James working on that. But if this is North 77 near Remount Road that's heading into South End, Uptown, you could find delays out of the Pineville area, Nations Ford, coming up from 485. And, oh, wow, looking at this map, yeah, you can see that back, it doesn't take much to jam things up on 77 anyway, but this is just an awful drive, and now we're back to white smoke, by the way, so cross our
Yes.
fingers that fire is out, final.
And that
Full
white
stop.
smoke would be a good indication that they have water on the fire. Here's the map that you and I were just looking at, Jane, on the right-hand side for our viewers. We have Uptown there towards the top of the map. The fire, like you mentioned, right near Remount, just north of Billy Graham Parkway, not too far from our station.
Right.
And then you can see the northbound delays all red here, all the way back on
Is
77.
it in South Carolina line?
Yeah, pretty much to that 485
Oh, okay.
interchange.
All right. So not quite Carowinds yet.
It does beg the question, what can I see from our station camera? So I'm going to pull that up
Okay.
right now, and that will go to our router 3, Jane, here in just a moment.
Copy that.
I think.
And so because that is so accessible from, I'm just thinking of some of the on-ramps onto I-77 northbound, including Tryon, Billy Graham, Clanton Road, you're going to hit this backup. And it is barely moving. And just might want to stick with those surface street alternatives, Tryon, or depending on where you want, maybe South Boulevard. Just go stick with South Boulevard on up to Uptown, something like that, and avoid I-77 altogether. I know, like, my way home all the time, right? You know, and I take for granted sometimes that I have one or three different ways to get home, but it is one of those things. It's like, oh, hopefully everybody looked at their GPS and not taking for granted. It's the midday, so traffic is usually light on I-77 at this point. But if you're just thinking, yeah, I-77 should be wide open, and now you got stuck into this jam up. And then the red coming on the going eastbound, James, is that Billy Graham?
That's Billy Graham. So I just updated
yeah.
our location. So we were saying Remount. We're not too far from Remount. We're probably more precisely between Billy Graham and Clayton. And so you're exactly right. That red that we're seeing on the traffic map there is cars coming down Billy Graham Parkway to meet up with 77, maybe trying to go around this.
Right.
We did also just observe that truck that was in the right shoulder has departed. So I don't know if they were involved or not, but they have since left, which is giving us a little bit different of a view here. I'm still trying to see. I don't know that we can actually see it from our station tower cam.
Okay.
But I am looking around just to see what other angles of this ongoing activity we might have.
No, that's good. I mean, so red means speeds under 10 miles an hour, even maybe 5 miles an hour, I would imagine. And another fire truck is pulling up to the scene, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible that at some point we only have that one lane open right now. I'd be curious to see if we keep that one lane open, or if we do in fact have a full road closure at some point. I did just find the view.
That very
here.
well
I'm
could
gonna
happen
switch
too.
What's on the air?
Okay.
And I'm going to show people our view from our camera. But this is from our WCNC tower camera.
okay.
You can see right here through the trees. On the right-hand side, Jane, that is the CMS education
headquarters,
building.
yeah.
Right here in the Presley Park area. So we can see firefighters near that car fire here on 77 northbound.
Okay, so again, white smoke, that's better. The car fire is now not completely out, as we have seen just minutes ago, where we thought it was out and then it reignited because those hot spots can do that, and they've been known to do that. So the second fire truck pulling up to the scene, but you can see how closely they're working with that vehicle and taking out all the tools, I'm sure, to deal with matters there. Also, we're also trying to learn the condition of the driver of the car. So we'll put out calls to medic as well. In the meantime, I don't know if, sure, there's going to be some rubbernecking on the southbound side of 77.
Especially when those flames were shooting out.
Exactly. So just coming down from Uptown, you might want to give yourself some extra time, or perhaps just avoid 77 altogether. That's both directions. And take those surface streets, depending on where you need to go to and from the South Park, Midtown, South End areas. But yeah, so again, just looking at some of the smoke, looks like Tryon might be a good alternative, viable right now. Those usually kind of quickly fill up as well. I know James is pulling up a camera here as well. And when we need to also go here in a minute because of Charlotte today coming up at 11. So something to be aware of. Spread the word. Let your friends, family know if they have plans here in the next few minutes to get on I-77 that it is not the way to go at this time. Car fire, North 77 between Billy Graham and Clanton Road, right around Remount. So heads up for you. All right. Take care, everybody. We will see you again on WCNC Charlotte. I will be joining you at 4. Nick Sturdivant here on the hot seat at 12:30. But for now, Charlotte Today is up next. Have a great day.